Let's fight, folks. A very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Wherever you're joining us from, whether you guys are joining us home here in Guyana or you guys are in the diaspora, you guys are in Region 11. Region 11. And somebody messaged me just last evening to ask me, where is Region 11? It's the diaspora. Wherever you guys are joining us from this afternoon, from North America, South America, Antarctica, Australia, Europe, Africa, Asia, wherever you find yourselves this afternoon, or you're home here in Guyana, welcome in the ring. You're joining us on Twitter, you're joining us on YouTube, you're joining us on Facebook. Welcome in the ring. It's great to see each and every one of you. And guys, you know, when you come into the ring, what you got to do. You know what you got to do, folks. So let's get about to doing it. Let's fight, folks. So much to discuss this afternoon. So many things on the fight card in terms of issues, but specifically, we're looking at Irfaan at the UN. Irfaan Ali goes to the UN. That is what we'll be examining over the next 30 to 45 minutes. And those folks who are joining us, rest assured, folks, we'll be back at 8 with our 8 p.m. program, live and in living color. So don't get afraid, folks. Do not get afraid. I know a lot of people already messaged me asking whether we're coming on at 8. Yes, folks. Once it's a day during the week, we're going to be on at 8 o'clock. And once there is something tremendously important happening in the world as it concerns our nation, we are going to be on at special occasions like this to bring you the information. And so welcome to each and every one of you. Lauren Jones, Andrew Mingo. I see Lily McGarrell is with us already, and Dawn Baines. I see Shawnette Alicia is with us as well. Bernadette James, Alison Pearson, Kwesi Castang. All you lovely folks. Desiree Smart, Felix, Kim King. I see Evadne Hines there with us as well. Princess Prince, Valda, Rose Capel. Good to see you as well. Rose Chappelle, Arthur McCalmont, Naomi Drucker, all of you fine folks, whether you're joining us at home here in Guyana or around the world. So glad to have each and every one of you with us in the ring this evening. I see Alia Waldron is with us already. Alia, welcome in the ring. Each and every one of you joining us. Let's fight, folks. We got to contend with the issues of our day. We got to contend with the issues of our time. And it's so great to have each and everyone in the ring. And guys, you know, as you come on, you got to share the live stream. You got to share the live stream. And as soon as we get to that magic number this afternoon, we are going to be good to go. So again, a very good afternoon to each and every one of you, whether you are a ringsider, you're a trenchy, you're a jagabat, or you're a cross. Welcome in the ring. So good to have all of you. In the ring is where we contend with ideas. And we always say, we don't concern whether you are APNU AFC, whether you are PNC, whether you are AFC, whether you are PPP, WPA, no party at all. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, whether you are Jew or Gentile, all are welcome in the ring. Here is where we contend with ideas. And so we welcome each and every one of you this afternoon in the ring. You know what you got to do, folks. Share the live stream. Good to see you, Roy Garraway. Great to see you, Roy Garraway, there. And let me also, as we're in this period of our broadcast, let me also give a shout out to Mr. Bunbury, Philip Bunbury. Great to see you, Philip. Great to see you there joining us in Ontario, Canada. Great to see you, Philip. Guys, share the live stream and we are ready to go. So, folks, today, it was another session of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, and it's happening in downtown New York, and it's running from the 20th to the 24th of this month. Again, it's the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. It's happening in New York, and it's running from the 20th to the 24th. It's all of this week. Irfaan Ali is scheduled to make his debut appearance tomorrow at the formal General Assembly. But today, as you know, folks, making the rounds, he delivered a statement at what is called the UN General Assembly high-level meeting focusing on the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Durban Declaration and Program of Action. Again, that's quite a mouthful. It is the UN General Assembly high-level meeting, and the focus of it was the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Durban Declaration and Program of Action. And I want to bring you some of what was said at that forum just today. Take a listen, take a look.
I'm pleased to participate in today's commemoration. Guyana is committed to gaining international reparations for the crime of African enslavement. Reparative justice must not only include a full and unconditional apology from those responsible and or who benefited from the transatlantic trade in captive Africans and their consequent enslavement must go beyond apology. In this regard, Guyana will continue to support the efforts being made within the Caribbean community to press for the convening of an international summit to demand reparative justice for the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. I'm pleased to participate in today's commemoration. Guyana is committed to gaining international reparations for the crime of African enslavement. Reparative justice must not only include a full and unconditional apology from those responsible and or who benefited from the transatlantic trade in captive Africans and their consequent enslavement must go beyond apology. In this regard, Guyana will continue to support the efforts being made within the Caribbean community to press for the convening of an international summit to demand reparative justice for the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. I'm pleased to participate in today's
Folks, there you have it. There you have it. You heard for yourself part of that statement by Irfaan Ali, again at the UN General Assembly high-level meeting with respect to the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Durban Declaration and Program of Action. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to have with me this afternoon the Member of Parliament, Amanza Walton-Desir, and as you know, she is the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs. Amanza, welcome and a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jared.
Manza, I don't know where to start from. We have been examining in different portions on this very broadcast over the last few nights what has been transpiring at the UN. We see the Vice President, Mr. Jagdeo, has chosen to accompany Irfaan Ali. That doesn't seem to make much of a difference, especially where this presentation is concerned, and some of the other stagecraft that we have been seeing. So let's start there. This statement that we witnessed this afternoon. What stood out to you, Amanza?
Jared, I'm seldom at a loss for words, but this afternoon is right up there with I'm in deep consternation. I'm in deep consternation. I think, Guyanese have a right to expect from their head of state a certain level of decorum and presentation. And that was woefully absent this afternoon. And I think, Guyanese, I've been reading and following the sentiments of Guyanese about this statement, not only the content of the statement, but the delivery of the statement. And, it leaves much to be desired, much to be desired. I, as a Guyanese, it's not a proud moment for me at all.
Amanza, putting it in terms that Guyanese understand, I saw one comment on social media that says, it is like when you buy your car. Rather, when you buy your car, driver's license today, and you crash your new car tomorrow, it is mind-boggling.
I could
That's
put
like
it,
debut appearance on the world stage. This is us. This is we.
I could put it in far more simple terms. A shame. It's Shared Iloke, the humor aside, it was an embarrassment of a delivery from a president. Whether you could excuse it to say it's nerves, he was nervous, it's for a showing, but this is a consistent pattern of subpar delivery by our president, and so um,
And Amanzi, it's quite strange compared to how Barjagdo himself billed Irfan Ali as a candidate for president. That he had the cabinet experience, he had led two huge ministries, he was ready to hit the ground running. But it's clearly demonstrative that he is not ready for prime time.
It is. It shows that. And, again, like I said, I think it requires that we take a thorough examination of ourselves. I believe that so much more could have been done. The delivery could have been far better than it was. But this is our finale we're talking about, and this is what he has to offer. And so, I hope that he takes the time to reflect and to understand that on the world stage, he represents a people, and he represents a proud people. And, that we are deserving of proper delivery and representation on the international stage. It is just, it's inexcusable.
That being said, Amanza,
Mhm.
the Kaito News, the Pippin Tom column just this morning made reference to the fact that we don't seem to have a lot of professional diplomats. And Irfan, as the chief diplomat, as it were, clearly did not represent us well on the world stage. That column said, and I quote, the problem is compounded by the absence of a clear foreign policy focus. And over the last few days, what we saw is a hodgepodge of what I think they hope to achieve somehow. We've been seeing that, Mr. Jagdio has been, front and center, even though quite recently he has said that he's going to be in the background. He said that he likes the engine room work behind the scenes. Clearly, Mr. Jagdo, sitting next to Irfaan Ali at the United Nations General Assembly, is not behind the scenes, is not in the engine room.
He had to hold his hand, I'm sure. He was sitting there to hold his hand because I think he more than most appreciate Irfan Ali's deficiencies. But Rajagdio is who he is, and he will continue to bully and to barge his way into whatever he wants done. And so it's really, really just a poor showing on the international stage for Guyana. It's deeply, deeply distressing. And on the issue of our foreign service, you recall, anytime you hear me speak on foreign service, I bemoan the very transactional nature of our foreign policy. And I keep saying that we do not seem to have a clearly defined national interest. Well, this shows clearly that, and the Pippin Tom article is simply bearing that out for us. What is more distressing is that we already have a paucity or a lack of strong diplomats. And the PPPC installed regime is about to decimate it further. There are a number of experienced diplomats, it is my understanding, that have been recalled or that are in the process of being recalled. Men and
Over
women who have
20, yeah.
served this country for years overseas, who understand the lay of the land, are being recalled. And so it is very clear, or at least it ought to be clear to every Guyanese, that the PPPC does not care about representing Guyana. And it is important that we understand that. And because they do not care about representing Guyana properly and representing the people of Guyana in the manner that they deserve to be represented, this is what you will see. This is what we will continue to see on the international arena because they do not care. There's no pride of country and pride of place with the PPPC. They are purely a transactional government. They are purely concerned about enriching themselves and their cronies, and that is what it is. If you had pride in your country, there was no way that would have been a showing at the UN. Absolutely no way. And so I think this has to really indicate to Guyanese that, you know what? We have got to turn this ship around, because if this is the level of representation that we have internationally, and mind you, Sherrod, I am not talking about the content of the speech, because we will come to that.
Yeah.
We're simply talking about just the way a president should look, the way a president should operate, the way a president should carry himself. Simple protocol, etiquette, completely absent,
Yeah.
completely absent. Basic things. When you stand, you button your suit jacket. Very basic things. And this is not nitpicking. This is understanding that when your president, installed though he may be, goes onto the international arena, every Guyanese is judged by him and by his appearance and by people's assessment of him as a person. And
That
even
becomes
those
the
of us,
standard. He's the standard bearer.
exactly. And so even those of us who fancy ourselves as far more capable and intellectual, we are being judged for subjugating ourselves to that. And so this is not about nitpicking. This is a far deeper, a far more far-reaching consequence. Our president cannot go on the international scene and speak about reparative justice. I mean, really?
Yeah. And so let's head into that. It seems that though the two things are oil and water, they don't mix. This is the PPP talking about justice for Africans. We have lived through the last year, and we've lived through the last 23 years of the PPPC administration. So when we hear the PPP talking about pushing for rights for Afro-Guyanese and remembering African slavery, it seems almost bizarre. And one would think that this is something they would shy away from. There are lots of heads of state who made video presentations and didn't turn up at the UN. And one wonders why. What did you make of the content of the presentation in that context?
Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy at its finest. I listened to Irfaan Ali, and I was wondering whether it was just me or this man is inhabiting an alternative dimension or an alternate universe. It is either one of two things. He is either a hypocrite or he lives in an alternate reality. Because for Irfaan Ali to stand on the international stage and pretend as if his government is interested in national unity and in the objectives of the Durban Declaration is hypocrisy at its finest. Because whilst he is on the international stage, supporting the objectives of the Durban Declaration in terms of it being anti-racist and anti-xenophobic and promoting good governance, etc., his administration home here are governing, his administration is governing in the exact opposite of what he is professing. And so we are seeing a level of hypocrisy. And I want to encourage every Guyanese to go listen to that 4-minute speech. It's only 4 minutes long, because I will tell you what, Irfaan Ali does not understand that if you open your mouth to declare some things, you bind yourself. And he has made declarations and commitments at the highest level at the UN General Assembly. And we will note it and we will hold him accountable for every word that he has uttered. Because you cannot be paying lip service to equality. And you cannot be on the international scene bemoaning ethnic insecurity when your administration are the chief cook and bottle washer when it comes to promoting ethnic insecurity amongst Guyanese. It is unacceptable, and we're going to call them out for it. I can't hear you, Sharon.
Apologies. As you said, this is the international stage that these commitments are being made. The forum at which this presentation was made by Irfaan Ali, again, it was the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Durban Declaration and Program of Action. And just early on in August, Amanza, you know this all too well, the United Nations adopted the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. So it's very, very serious. And part of the literature on this says that the new forum will serve as a consultation mechanism for people of African descent and other stakeholders and contribute to the elaboration of the UN Declaration, a first step towards a legally binding instrument on the promotion and full respect of people of African descent. So this is an issue, if no other year, this year, the UN is really taking very, very seriously.
And absolutely, we are talking about what the UN has deemed the greatest crime against humanity. This is what we're talking about. And so the UN has taken steps to establish a permanent commission for people of African descent. So Irfaan Ali must know that there is in existence now a forum set up permanently to receive these complaints where people are being victimized and discriminated against. And so he will be held accountable. He will be held accountable for the words he spoke today. So we look forward. He is committed to reparative justice. So we look forward to them in the upcoming budget supporting the local reparations committee. We look forward to them giving subventions to the IPADG, the International Decade for People of African Descent here locally. We're looking forward to these things because you committed on the international arena. And so his feet will be held to the fire.
Yeah, yeah. One wonders whether he has a good grasp of history and he understands the import of what he's doing and what he's saying. Remember, this is the same Irfaan Ali on arrival day who boasted that Africans came here for betterment.
Yes, this is the same gentleman, and it is clear that he is learning as he goes along. These are things that had he gone to university and taken a proper history course, he would have been au fait with the fact that Africans were brought here in chains and enslaved. So they didn't come for betterment, but clearly he was not paying attention in his in even his standard 4 history. And so we will continue to see these blunders. We will continue to see them because, again, and I say this to all Guyanese, irrespective of your race, your creed, your gender, these people do not care about Guyana and Guyanese. Guyana is simply an instrument that they will use to enrich themselves. Guyanese are simply pawns that they believe that they can manipulate to gain, their advantage and so on and so forth. So whilst he's on the international arena, giving these platitudes, his minions home here are victimizing Afro-Guyanese, are victimizing our Indo brothers and sisters, and they perceive are supportive of another political party other than theirs. And so there is no love for Guyana or Guyanese. It's a basic concept. When you love something, when you have pride in something, you put your best foot forward. And if that is Irfaan Ali's best foot forward, he needs to stop walking.
Yeah, very well. Amanza, let's talk about some of the stagecraft that we are seeing. Why do you think it was important for Jagjo to be seated next to Irfaan Ali? He isn't the foreign affairs minister. Why is he next to Mr. Ali at the UN? Why is he going with a delegation, or went with a delegation to Suriname. Next month, he's heading to Ghana on behalf of the administration to Ghana. And this is the guy who says he wants to be behind the scenes in the engine room, but he's front and center. What are we witnessing? Is this a Putin Medvedev? What is this cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors, foreign policy that we're seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is that uh, this is my assessment of it anyway. Jagdeo needs to make sure that things are done in a particular way, and his presence there indicates that he has no confidence that outside of him it will be done in a particular way. And so what he does, he continues to make himself the center, or the sun around which everything revolves. It is just how the man is. So what you're seeing there is him ingratiating himself further and making himself further indispensable to the PPPC. That's all he's doing.
Yep. Some of our pundits told us early on, witnessing this presentation here at this august body, that part of Jagdeo's trip to the UN is motivated by his political aim to maintain maximum control. They go on to say that he, more than others, understand that the international fora provides an opportunity for political leaders to lift their profile and turn such trips into good political capital. Hence, he recognized the need to shadow Irfaan and remind all and sundry that he still is king. Is that your sense? Is that your reading?
But I couldn't put it any clearer than that. I could not put it any clearer than that. Usually, it is the Minister of Foreign Affairs that is sitting next to the president at these fora. But since Utah is simply a rubber stamp, then there's no need to have him sit in his rightful place. And this is all it is about. It is about posturing. It is about the subliminal message, and that is what the goal is. I noticed very interestingly, he's trying to cozy up to Ghana, whilst treating people of African descent in a most disrespectful manner. But we are tracking it. We're looking at it because we will make the world understand and expose their tyrannical tendencies. So you do not get to go to cozy up to our brothers and sisters in Africa whilst you treat their Guyanese brothers and sisters with scant regard. It simply will not work. This is not long time. We have social media, we have networking, and so we will continue to expose them for who they are. If the PPP wakes up tomorrow and decides that they truly want to govern Guyana for every Guyanese, they won't have a problem. But they are incapable of doing that, apparently. It seems to be not within the DNA of the leadership of the PPP.
Yeah. And Amanza, let's talk about that very issue for just a little bit, because the contrast couldn't be more stark. Just recently, we saw the president of the US, Joe Biden, on that very same world stage. And part of his presentation, and we're picking up this bit of reporting out of Village Voice, says that the US backs citizens demonstrating against repressive regime. Now, this is a very, very repressive regime. Do you think they understand the 21st century? They seem to be wanting to head back to pre-2015. Do they understand this new age?
No, they don't. They don't. The PPPC has simply brushed off their pre-2015 playbooks, and that is what we are seeing being repeated. But I think they're in for a very rude awakening, because what is happening the world over is that people are losing their appetites for dictatorial and authoritarian regimes. That is just the reality. And Joe Biden, president of the US, was very, very clear when he said we support protests. People must stand up and speak out for their rights. And so the Ali administration needs to be put on notice that they're using the police to suppress peaceful protests. The right to assembly, which is guaranteed by the Constitution, is not going to be tolerated on the world stage. But again, I reiterate that Guyanese are responsible for standing up. We have to save ourselves. Nobody's coming to save us. Our salvation lies within us. And so we have to continue to hold this PPPC regime accountable. We have to continue to expose them because we believe on this side of the political divide with all of our hearts that it is possible for Guyana to be a place where the six races can live together in harmony, can grow, can thrive, where I don't have to look across at my neighbor and be jealous and envious because there is enough for all of us. And so what you are seeing is the Irfaan Ali administration, whilst they're saying one thing internationally, they are sowing the seeds of discord locally. They keep the people divided locally because it is only because we are divided that they are able to govern in the way that they're governing. It is only because we are divided that you find brothers are at each other's throats and neighbors who usually get along well. There is now suspicion because those flames of ethnic insecurity that he is talking about, they are the masters of stoking it.
Very well. Mansi, wrapping up our discussion, a very important conference, a very important summit is coming up in December, hosted by the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. And this is the Summit of Democracy. This is the Summit of Democracy. And many persons are saying, the insiders are telling us that that Irfaan Ali has not been invited to that summit. And we are also being told that there's a lobby firm right now on the ground in Washington trying very hard to get an invitation for them. Do you think they're going to be invited to this summit of democracy hosted by Joe Biden in December?
Well, I don't know. It's difficult for me to prognosticate and to speculate, but what I will say is that they must understand that this is not pre 2015. News travels fast, people are paying attention, and because of the economic interests in Guyana, it is more the focus of attention than it has been. And so I want to say to our people that we are better off building a united Guyana. You know, I sometimes look at your program, and well, not sometimes, every night, we in the ringside, let's fight.
You're too
But
kind.
you look at the comments and you see that because, you know, some of us are not able to carry on a particular level of discourse. You know, we go into all kinds of personal insults and all of that. But they don't understand that it's like throwing water on duck back because this is a different breed of people you're dealing
Mhm.
with.
Mhm.
We are committed to seeing this country be all that she can be for every Guyanese, irrespective of ethnicity, creed, race, orientation, whatever. Guyana is our home. And we will not allow a few people who, because they can divide us and make us insecure in our ethnicity whenever they're ready to divide us while our resources are being plundered and only a handful, only a handful of the elite are reaping the rewards. You ask the average Guyanese about the oil wealth, and they'll ask you, what is that? Vice President Jagdeo was
We ain't feeling
saying
it.
that it's going to be some years until we see it. But he and his cronies are seeing it. He and the people that they're farming out the contracts to are seeing it. Meanwhile, the cane cutters have to strike for proper wages. The teachers have to strike for proper wages. And because they know that they can prey on our ethnic insecurity, they continue to do that. But I'm saying to our Guyanese people that it is time we rise up and understand that when you cut any of us, is red blood coming out. You
Very
understand?
well.
if an Indo-Guyanese or an Afro-Guyanese is sick and they need blood, you can't tell whether you're getting it from an Indo-Guyanese or an Afro-Guyanese. It is time we stop this nonsense and realize Guyana's promise for all that she can be for all of us. Where if you work, you will be rewarded according to your labor, and you'll be respected based on the content of your character. That is the Guyana that we have to have. And so the longer we keep at each other's throats while these gentlemen enrich themselves and their families, God help us.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well, Amanza. Let us leave it there until we meet again. And just by way of programming note, Amanza is going to be on with me tomorrow evening in the ring as we examine the goings on at the at the United Nations General Assembly tomorrow. Irfaan Ali is scheduled to make his maiden presentation before the General Assembly tomorrow. And if today's statement is anything to go by, if today's statement is a preview, folks, strap yourselves in. Strap yourselves in. Thanks for joining us, Amanza Walton-Desir, Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs. Thanks, Amanza.
Anytime.
Awesome. Folks, and thank you guys. We're going to leave it here for now. We're going to be back this evening at 8 p.m. for our regular programming. Folks, at 8 p.m. we have a very special guest who's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about some other stuff happening here at home while also touching again on this very issue. This first appearance, this first outing at the United Nations General Assembly for Irfaan Ali. Folks, that's our time for this afternoon. And as you go, folks, as you go, we remind you to come on board and partnership with us and partner with us so that we can do more programs like this, so that we can build out our program. For you, this program is powered by you, for you. And we thank all of you who've already come on board with us and don't think you don't have a part to play. Each of you have a part to play. And so we've made available for you guys to come on board with us via the Cash App feature. It's $, in the ring 592. Again, that's $, in the ring 592 at PayPal. It's in the ring 592 at Gmail. That's our Gmail address at PayPal. In the ring 592 at Gmail. We're available on the MMG system. It's 627-6963. 627-6963. And those persons who have any queries, you need any guidance, you have an information tip, you can WhatsApp us on that number as well, 627-6963. Also available on MoneyGram and Western Union. Folks, that bit of housekeeping out of the way. Thank you guys for joining us. We are going to be back for regular programming, folks, ladies and gentlemen, at 8 this evening. So stay with us. Stay with us. We have some other programs that are coming up. Randy comes up with the rush at about 7, and there might be one or two other programs on the stream this afternoon. But thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. Folks, you know, you make the program what it is. See you guys right back here at 8 this evening. Thanks for joining us, folks. We got to fight. Let's fight, folks. We got to fight. We got to fight. I'm going to stick around for about 2 minutes more and give some of our ringsiders a shout out. Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. That's our time for this afternoon. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. And good to see Roseanne Princess with us. I see Marilyn E. Thomas is with us. Mark Simpson is with us. Alexis Arthur. Good to see you, Alexis. There in Wickenham. Donna Liverpool is with us. Fantastic. Good to see you, Donna. Bonita Ellis Parker. Good to see you as well. And Dion Walton Williams. Good to see all you fantastic folks. Delise Gulliver is with us as well. All of you fantastic folks. Looking forward to seeing you guys back here at 8 o'clock in the ring. Thank you, folks, for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Remember, wear your mask, sanitize, social distance, practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety. That of your friends, your fans, family, and loved ones. Thanks for joining us, folks, and do stay safe. See you back here at 8.